Blood on the Clocktower is a social deduction tabletop game created by the Pandemonium Institute. It's gone on to get a Kickstarter, convention, and even a YouTube series. I'm pretty sure you've heard of an SDG before. Blood on the Clocktower can be more described as a Roll Madness SDG. Every month, they release a competition officially on the unofficial Blood on the Clocktower server. This is usually centered around a newly released character. And this month, I'm going to win.
So evil. So say hello to the summoner. You get 3 bluffs. On the 3rd night, choose a player. They become an evil demon of your choice. No demon. Take it away, guys.
Cool. So, the summoner is a minion. Nice and simple. That makes perfect sense, because obviously they remove a demon. I suspect at this moment in time there are people that are quite mad about the stream title, so, which is I'm entirely responsible for. So I should take the hit on it. Yeah. So she spilled her drink.
She got some on her.
She got some on her. Because I'm a terrible person. But I would like it to be known that the only person I know is a professional comedian in chat found it funny, therefore I'm claiming it as entertaining. Anyway, so you're a minion. So if it's a 1 minion game, you are the only evil player as the summoner. That's a spicy time for you. You've got to survive a couple of days and then make another demon. The whole point of the summoner is that they get to choose a player to be their demon to be on their team. It actually runs very simply. Any other minions run as normal. Once the demon is created, it runs as normal. It's just you don't have a demon to kill on night 2 or have any other effects. It's worth remembering this on the 3rd night they choose a player, they become an evil demon. They're a demon as of that moment and therefore will get to kill that night. So if you think of how the night numbering works, we can finally resolve this situation. Night 1, the storyteller dies. The game begins. Night 2, there is presumably no death, unless you've got assassin, gossip, whatever else that's causing deaths. Night 3, the summoner summons. There's now a demon in play. The demon kills someone. So you get that 2 days, 1 night of no death at the start of the game, which makes it interesting because
the summoner has many jinxes caused by the djinn. Here are all the relevant ones. Kazili makes sense, but it limits its choices, which is some of the fun of Kazili. Poppy Grower isn't that bad, and the Marionette Jinx is reasonable. Mid-game Legion and mid-game Riot. Great idea, honestly. Clockmaker seems like it's a good idea, but this Clockmaker knowing a summoner is in play isn't the best idea. The Alchemist Summoner Jinx. There is very little ways to balance around that, even within script building. Speaking of which, there's obviously some characters you shouldn't put on a summoner script. Don't even. Well, these 3 hurt evil considering it delays their kills by another night. Oh my god, summoner is reverse Kazili, so we should put Kazili on the same script. No, you shouldn't. Engineer, Preacher, Courtier, Minstrel, Golem, and Goon can all end the game immediately because of the summoner. Clockmaker, even with Droisening, influences summoner way too much. The fortune teller's red herring can make it really hard to understand and interpret their own information in a fun way. If you show the previously turned demon to the balloonist, you have to show the demon to the balloonist later, basically outing who the demon is. You make the knight's information even more worthless. In 1 minion games, the magician's ability has no effect on the summoner. The barber begins to have the Hatter's problem of literally trying to die as early as possible because the demon isn't even in play. The investigator makes it really difficult for the summoner in 1 minion games. One of the biggest components of Choirboy is removed since the Choirboy can't even trust the king anymore, and the steward's ability is so simple that it's completely negated after night 3. If you sweetheart or puzzle drunk the demon, rest in literal puzzle pieces. So, what do we get if we avoid all these caveats? This is a script. Wait, you can't read that. Sorry. This is a script. 13 townsfolk, 4 outsiders, 3 demons, 5 minions. First up, we have the bounty hunter. Sometimes the summoner can add very little pressure in the beginning of the game, but is a little too powerful late game. The bounty hunter helps with this by adding an evil townsfolk in the early game, but also getting closer to finding out the demon in the late game. If you're afraid in 1 minion games that the bounty hunter is just going to see the summoner and it's going to be all over, think again, because you could make the sailor or the fool the evil townsfolk, stalling out the day enough, just so the summoner can get at the demon and eliminate the bounty hunter. We also have the recluse, who could be seen by the bounty hunter, and if the cannibal later on the script, you might be able to stall the bounty hunter with that too. The Shugenja is a nice overall character. With Empath on the script, you can make this especially more potent, but with Summoner creating an evil player, and even a bounty hunter creating another evil player, that would mean that your information might not be trustworthy the entire time trying to locate a summoner early on. Pixie is pretty benign on the script, being used for its usual things like adding double buffs for evil and being wary into killing to double claims. Actually, Pixie has one interaction on the script that I want to talk about. Vortox. Now, I'm assuming you haven't read document on Pixie that's like several paragraphs long. Pixie can claim like chambermaid and they saw like the empath. It doesn't matter if they claim chambermaid, but that day in that instance, they claim to be the empath and that the real empath's lying, even though they've claimed chambermaid all the way before, they will still get the empath's ability, even though they have claimed chambermaid. Knowing that Pixie is still mad about like a certain player in the game, if you use this logic, you can still fulfill a previous condition while fulfilling a condition that could potentially gain you another ability. This makes Pixie not completely useless in a Vortox game, but I will admit that it probably depends much heavier on storyteller discretion. Next up, we have Empath. Same as Shugenja. We're not drunking the Summoner Knight 3, and there's a few ways that someone else can survive execution. I'd say Solo King works fairly well with all the demons on the script and Summoner, so Flower Girl. Let's just get straight into the interactions. The reason I like Flower Girl over Fortune Teller is because Flower Girl builds worlds off the knowledge it gains rather than just trying to find a good player or having its information messed up. Summoner and Vortox interact nicely in this fact, rather than like Fortune Teller. Towncrier. There's no Witcher Golem, so everybody really doesn't have a reason not to nominate for Towncrier or enforce that meta. But there is Recluse, so. Monk. A reason that no deaths happen on night 2. Okay, now for the better interactions within the script. Monk interacts with Assassin and Leech. Assassin is a nice explanation for Monk being the host. Monk choosing the host can be questionable, but that's only if the monk doesn't come out as choosing the leech host specifically, which sometimes in a game that can happen, but I don't really like when those things happen. But the more bigger problem I feel like Monk has is Monk and Vortox. Monk protecting someone from the Vortox is a little too complex, but then again, if you're playing a custom script with a new character, you wouldn't expect it to be that simple. Slayer. There's no saving the demon after they get shot, but the demon isn't very static. If Slayer wants to shoot as soon as possible, they should optimally shoot day 3 because of someone being desensitized and panic shooting day 1 makes the cannibal weaker and just automatically gobbling up that one game roll. Seamstress, much like Slayer, the way they use their ability and when they use it is way different than just any other script because of the summoner. They optimally want to use it night 3, but there's no guaranteeing you're hitting like an initially evil player because of Bounty Hunter. Fool. Doesn't want to die, interacts well with Assassin, and can explain no deaths with Summoner. It can even end the game prematurely in a little monster game. I feel like Summoner interacting with the roles on the script really gets rid of most of the concepts of cannibal food, and Vortox usually means you have to execute every day, and there's multiple reasons on the script why people don't die. So I think Cannibal is actually really well balanced on the script. Plague Doctor. The most dangerous interaction on the script would be Baron Plague Doctor, but Damsel and Hatter kind of make up for it since we cuckold Hatter, but more about that later. Recluse has some great interactions on the script, just don't kill it with Slayer, please, we can't explain that. Damsel works good with Plague Doctor Baron, as mentioned previously, can't get executed because of Cannibal, and might stay alive a little bit longer because of Little Monster and someone are being late to the party. Hatter, probably the biggest issue on the entire script. If the Hatter triggers Night 2 with a demon already in play, a minion could choose Summoner, creating a new demon the next night, which is probably the worst thing that can happen on the entire script, because 2 demons is a really big issue. But if the summoner is in play and the Hatter dies beforehand, that's pretty beneficial to good. But if the Hatter dies after the summoner has made a demon, the summoner will obviously choose a new minion to be, gaining a lot of power for the evil team. So Hatter's put in this dynamic where they can't die either way. An assassin sniping them night 2 with a demon in play is probably the best thing for the evil team, and it promotes the creation of a little monster. Because if you create an evil player with little monster, they'll wake up with the Hatter, so they can successfully become a minion or get into a real demon if they don't like the original ability. Poisoner, pretty simple. I feel like Town acts more cagey because of Poisoner, which is pretty good in the script considering if Town coordinates really well, they'll almost always win over the evil team. Devil's Advocate, a pretty good minion. There's plenty of ways on a script for people to survive execution. Chinning with Little Monster is always helpful. As stated previously, Summoner has a ramp up effect, and this script brings out the Summoner's qualities and its ramp up effect, and how it can use its resources to win the game or interrupt the good team. Assassin gives minions agency in a Little Monster game and can kill the Sailor and Fool. Baron is here for outsider count. Don't even think about adding Sentinel. Summoner has one of the best interactions with Little Monster, considering you can turn a player evil, and there's plenty of roles on this script that want to keep their ability while being turned evil. And with the Hatter on the script, you can still register them as the demon and wake them up, so you could have an extra minion, or just change the demon if you don't like your initial ability. Assassin also gives minions more agency in a Little Monster game. Leech. Mid-game Leech isn't always the funnest, but you can also narrow down who the damsel might be, and as long as you don't hold an NRB and assassinate the host, you should be fine. Vortox, the pariah of misinformation. It interacts well with Bounty Hunter, making it easier for minions to bluff as good, even when seen by the Bounty Hunter, and Monk to mess up with Vortox's misinformation, or the Vortox themselves messing up Gun's information by claiming to be the monk. Now, that's the entire script. Now, if you look at the stream competition scripts in the forum, DMR-like scripts being built around the summoner and making it work, I feel it doesn't really highlight the interaction summoner has on a custom script, rather than just like a TB+1. Thanks for watching me going on about this. Oh, and TPI for watching. I'm sorry about the Yagababble joke.